Welcome to Down and Dirty. Today we're installing DCS Rock Lights on a JKU. So let's get started. Okay, now we got everything out of the box. So again, this is a DCS Rock Lights that we have here, made in the USA. Very high quality, 5-year warranty. So anyway, these are all of our frame lights. They push into existing holes in the frame, no drilling required. This is a drain plug light. Take out an existing drain plug, and that pops right in, back in the rear jack area. Then you have these magnetic lights. Those magnets made right in them, molded right in them. And we also have one here that has holes, so you can bolt it on. This came with a strap to strap it around, round portion of the frame underneath the radiator. Then we have wiring harnesses, A, driver side, B, passenger side, and C, that goes under the dash. So that's everything, and get these installed. Okay, we're at the rear of the vehicle, where your jack is stored at. This is where it normally always is. And this plug right here, I already pushed it up from the bottom. If you pop this plug out, this is the light that was in the kit that goes into a drain plug. The wire goes underneath the vehicle. So we stick this light down through from the inside out. So you want to feed your wire down through there first. Just feed the wire down through the hole. And then what I do, to make these easier to push in, I just use Windex. And I just spray them with Windex. Makes them go in much easier. They tend to slide right in then. Just spray some Windex on there. Okay, so we got our Windex sprayed on there. Want your wire pointing towards the driver's frame rail, because that's where it's going to connect up to. And then you just push it down the hole at an angle, get the wire in there, and then just push around the light. Push it down in. Don't ever push in the center of these. You could damage the light itself. Just want to push around the edges, and then it pops right in. And we have our first light installed. Okay, we're here in the rear driver's side frame rail. See the muffler back here. This hole right here is where a light is going to end up. This is where you want to feed in your fish tape or whatever it is that you're using to pull your wires. And we're going to feed that through the frame rail until it comes out of the square hole up front underneath. Basically about beside the transmission area. So we'll pull it. You want to run your tape or whatever you're using up to that point, and then we'll connect the wires on and pull them back to this location. This is what I'm going to be using today. Fiberglass poles. They screw together. They have a little brass threaded tip on the end of each one of them. And there are sections of them here. You just keep screwing them together for however long you need it to be. It's a flexible fiberglass pole. Used fish tape last couple times. I'm going to try these today, see if it's a little better. Fish tape's kind of a pain in the butt, at least the metal ones are, so I'm going to try this. I'm going to feed that up through this hole towards the front. How this works. And you just thread on another piece as you go. This right here is the hole that we're looking to feed the wires through. Get our fish tape up to that point. It's actually inside the frame right here. I can see it. I don't know if you saw it right there. Look at this. See it right there? Or not our fish tape, but our poles that we're using. So we'll get that pulled through the hole. Okay, right there we got our end. Let's thread it onto the pole. Get our wires connected to it, and then we can pull it back the other way. Okay, got our wire harness here. A says rear. That means it goes towards the rear. Had two plugs here, basically a Y. I took and taped one to the main wire. So we're just going to have the one here facing back. So that way you're not trying to pull both of them. and getting caught on anything. So you want to tape one, actually be facing towards the front of the Jeep, and then we're going to tape this one to our pulling pole. You got that all taped up on there, so we can start pulling it through now. Okay, what I always do is push everything into the hole. Make sure everything goes in nice and free before you go back and start pulling on it. Okay, so basically just pull this on this pole, or fish tape, whatever you're using. Just pull it until your wires come out. All right, there they are. And I had to go back up front a couple times and help feed in connectors as you get to the next set of, there's another set of Y connectors. Had to feed them, push them up through the hole because they will catch. So you don't want to pull real hard on this or yank on it. Take it nice and easy. It'll come through. Okay, we're under the rear of the Jeep right now. This is the light here, put through the drain plug. I want to get my wires ran and zip tied up. And instructions do say to connect it with, there's existing trailer hitch wiring, and there is. But there's a long span in between where the light dropped down and the trailer hitch wiring to start zip tying things up. So I use these things. It's a sticky pad. Also has holes so you can screw it up. But I'll use one of these in the middle of that span just to keep the wire from drooping down. So what I'll do is I'll get my zip tie on here, because it's easier than reaching up in there and trying to do it. Then you just peel the backing off, protect the backing off, so it's just your sticky face is on there, and then we just stick it up in here. I go about halfway in between. And to clean it off good with alcohol first, like you do anything else, adhesive. Make sure you got a good clean surface. And if you have too much of a span, you can always add another one. But that'll be good there. We'll just tie it up to our trailer hitch wiring now, and that way it's not sagging down in the middle. Out there to work could get caught on something. Okay, I got our wire all ran, zip tied up nice and neat. It's our rear shock here, sway bar, brake line coming down, and this opening, this hole right here, oval hole, you want to stick this wire up through that oval hole and then pull it out the square hole on the other side where we pulled the wires, these wires from the front to the rear. And then we'll plug this into one of these connectors, and the other connector is for a light that actually goes into that hole. As you can see here, this is that wire from the drain plug. I just pushed it up through that oval hole there on the bottom of the frame, out the square hole, and we'll plug our connector together here. Make sure it latches, and then you can feed that back up into the hole, and we can put a rock light in here. Okay, so now we're going to take one of our round frame rock lights here. It's going to go into this hole, and again I'm just going to spray it with Windex. Just makes it so it pushes in a lot easier. Plug it in, feed all your wires up into the frame, stick it down in an angle, and then just go around the edge and push it in. They pop right in, that's it. So that's our second light installed. So we'll move on up the frame and start popping them in. You know what you got to do is you got to reach down to this hole here on the side of the frame rail, right under the driver's door. Reach in there with your finger and get a hold of the wire. There's a hole opposite of it also that helps. I put a finger in each hole. I got a hold of it and got it pulled up. And then you can see where it has a connector made into it here. So we'll pull these out, the side of the rail here. And then we have a light that's going to go in here, but we also have a light that goes up underneath. We also have a light that goes up underneath here, the magnetic one. We're going to stick that on first because that wire comes through the hole opposite of this. And then we can get it plugged in before we stick this light in this hole, just like we did on the back. Okay, now we're putting on this magnetic one right here. It's got the magnets molded into it. Just sticks right onto this cross member here. One where you see a bolt here for, I believe that's a seat bolt. A seat bolt. So you want to stick it onto that cross member. There is another one up closer to the transfer case. I believe if you put it up on the one closer to the transfer case, this cross member is going to block some of your light. So I would put it back farther on this one. And we need to run this wire up and over this to the frame rail and through the hole opposite of where we just were, where I pulled those two plugs out. So we'll stick it through the hole opposite of that, put it all the way through, plug it into, and then that one will be connected. Okay, so I fished this through, hold the frame from the other side to this side. So we can go ahead and plug this in. Plug turned the right way, it's helpful. Again, push it in until that clips on. Stick that one back in the frame. Okay, now I need to install another round one. And it says mid on it. Make sure you get the one that says mid because this back is a different diameter than the others. It's a little bit smaller. So spray it down. Plug it in. Stick your wires up in the hole and push your light in. So you always just want to kind of stick one edge in and then just kind of push around. It popped in real easy. Okay, so we got your wires right here where we pulled them through this square opening here in the front by the transmission. And you got a Y, and you have one of them has a female plug. Well, that goes forward through the frame to the light for the front tire, front wheel well light. And your longer wire has a male end on it. That goes up into the engine compartment, up the engine bay for connection. So just make sure you run them the right direction. The shorter one goes up to the wheel well for your next light. Okay, now we're in the front wheel well here. This opening is the next one that we're going to be working on to get our light in. I'm just going to take a piece of wire. I'm just taking a piece of wire here. Basically, it's a metal coat hanger, sticking it through the frame rail so I can get that female connector taped onto it. Okay, we're just going to pull our wire back. And there's our connector for the front wheel well light. Here we'll just plug our light in. Spray it. And push it in. That's it. So we have all the lights installed on the driver's side. We'll move to the passenger side now. All right, we're on the passenger side, and I could not get this thing to go up and over the wheel well like we did on the driver's side from the back. See where I'm at right now. That square hole right there is where we're supposed to go from, because that's where the light goes to. Cannot get it to go up and over the wheel well and make it to this opening. So I'm gonna pull the wires to this opening and then go from this opening back is my plan. That's where I'm at right now. See how it works out. All right, so here we are inside of the frame on the passenger side. See where I got this thing is pulled through. Screw my end on. Back on, I had it off. So I thought it was getting caught. That didn't seem to matter at all. It didn't seem to matter what I did there. It just didn't want to go up over the wheel well for some reason. So here we are. We've got harness B, passenger side, and it says rear. So again, that's what you want to tape on here because we're going to pull it to the back. So once again, stick everything up in the hole and then go back and start pulling on it. Nice and slow, easy. Make sure your wire doesn't hang up on anything. Process. Okay, there's our wire. I'm just going to leave that taped on. I can just unscrew this piece. Now that we've got that far, and we'll just tape this back on, or hook this back up, I guess I should say. Right. Don't tape it. And it's going to go right through. Okay, got this rod out the other end. So get this screw back on here and continue on down the frame rail. I don't know why it didn't want to come up over the wheel well from the back towards the front direction, but it went real easy going this direction. So sometimes you just do whatever you got to do. Get to go through. Wire's caught up front. So when you pull on these, you want to pull nice and slow and easy so it hangs up. You're not damaging it anyway. And what it was the connector for the, I guess you call it the mid side of the frame rail. Got snagged up there on the cross member. All right, got our light, plug it in, spray it down. Same routine. And push it in. So we got the passenger rears done. We're going to do the mid and then we'll do the front. So here we are again. Just going to stick your finger down that hole and find your wire. And hopefully you can get it pulled right up. Oops. Wrong end. The other end. The other. There we go. Get our connector for the light right there. And again, we have light that says mid on it because this diameter is different than all the rest of these round ones. Make sure you have the right one. Make sure you didn't put this one in the wrong hole. Spray it down. Tuck your wires in and kind of wedge it up in the hole and work your way around. There we go. We got our mid light done. Now we'll do the front wheel well. And the whole passenger side will be done. Okay, so again I did my coat hanger trick here. Stuck it up through this frame rail. Plug the wire up through. Plug our light in. Spray it down. And push it up into the hole. There we go. Okay, the final light. Got all the other ones are done, both sides, frame rail wise. Now we have this one that goes under the radiator here. On this tube that runs under the radiator, should say. It just has a strap that goes around that tube and 2 Phillips screws to attach it to the strap. This one's a bit different to work with. I get it centered here. You got radiator hose pushing on it. Making it a little difficult to position. Get it centered on that bar. All right, getting in here is not the easiest thing to do with this, I guess, splash guard in my way. Get it positioned and then snug the screws up. It's all plastic, so you don't want it super tight. Break it, strip it. All right, so there's our final rock light. Get the wire in up for this one. Everything connected in together. And we can power everything up and test it. Okay, we got our main wiring harness. I guess the underhood wiring harness, should call it, not necessarily the main. This is C. We got it run back behind the motor. Got our passenger lights plugged in here. Here's our hot wire with fuse, comes with that ground wire. Of course, then the next thing you have to do is, I guess, figure out what you want to do for a switch. If you don't already have a switch panel, it's the final step. But as far as this goes, wraps us up for connecting these lights. This right here is our, we have the one that goes down the frame rail. This one right here is the one that goes up front underneath the radiator. Both plugged in over here on the driver's side. Got a couple more zip ties. I got to trim that zip tie, and I got to zip tie this up yet. But I'm going to do that when I get to the point of I have to run wires and install a switch for this setup for this customer because they don't have anything right now. So we'll do that in a separate video. All right, got the light install done on this JK. Lights themselves are done. Switch still has to be installed because the customer didn't have any current switches to use, so gotta do that yet. But just want to wrap up this video because it's just about the installation of the lights. You got the one there by the muffler in the back, rear wheel well. Got the one on the frame. See the one shining down below there that's out there in the middle. Front wheel well. And under the radiator, front axle light. Looks good. Went well. Okay, that concludes this video of installing DCS Rock Lights on this JK. Like I said before, this is an awesome product, very well engineered, very easy installations, plug and play wiring. All the lights go into existing holes in the Jeeps, whether it's the TJ, LJ, JK, JL. I've done all three of them now. No drilling required. Very easy installations. It's more time consuming if you don't have auxiliary switches already to install an auxiliary switch, like I did with this customer's Jeep, because they didn't have switches. So that actually takes longer than installing the lights themselves. That's how easy it is. All right, thank you for watching. Like, subscribe, share. Take care. Appreciate y'all.